found out here today, this is what a healthy democracy looks like. I want to first pay tribute to the Songhees and Esquimalt nations whose traditional territories we are on here today. And in fact, I want to take my hat off to all First Nations in every part of British Columbia this afternoon. Because something unprecedented happened. At the outset of this Enbridge Northern Gateway process, the Prime Minister of our country impugned motives and intentions and called into question the very patriotism of Canadians who dared to speak out against this oil pipeline. And it was First Nations communities up and down the pipeline proposed route and on the coast of British Columbia who stood up for all British Columbians first and who brought all of us together here today. Folks, this thing is far from over. We might be 2/3 the way through the National Energy Board hearings, but we've got a problem. The problem is we don't have provincial leadership on this file. The problem is Christy Clark and her government, who've been missing in action for 2 years on Enbridge. We haven't seen a vanishing act like this since Enbridge posted that video on its website and made the islands disappear. As it stands, because of a deal that Christy Clark's government signed, British Columbia as a province has no say in the end result of the National Energy Board process. We've got to take that back, folks. And there's a way to do that. There's a way to do that. Adrian Dix, the leader of the NDP, has offered just that. The equivalency agreement can be served notice, it can be ended, and we can finally have a Made in BC environmental review in place so that British Columbians, First Nations, coastal communities, everyone who has an interest in this project can be finally heard. So there's two things I want the Premier of the province to take away from this gathering here today. The first, exercise that option. End the equivalency agreement. Don't let the last word be Stephen Harper's, because we know where he stands. We need to know where you stand, Christy Clark. And the second thing that needs to happen from her government is she needs to say to Kinder Morgen that they can't expect to have the same sweetheart deal that her government signed with Enbridge. That needs to be said as well. So folks, I want to thank every one of you for being here this afternoon. This is what democracy looks like. Your side, with coastal communities, with First Nations, with British Columbia businesses, with everybody who has spoken up so far, and we can win this thing. And if Christy Clark refuses to budge, well, there's something she can't change. It's called an election, and it's coming in May 2013. Yeah!